Hello, all you fine, beautiful people. I'm back here once again with another video, and this today I'm just gonna try a live stream here today and try out StreamYard. I know Scott has been doing a bunch of stuff on here through our Sunday live stream, so I figured, you know what? Let's check it out and see how it goes here. This is just me testing out a camera I have, a microphone. If it's too loud, let me know. If it to just audio and all this, this is pretty much just a quick little stream to kind of work out the kinks, see how everything's going, how it's working, the quality of my camera and stuff. This is really my first time ever doing this with this setup, so this is kind of what I'm doing, just kind of going through the just pretty much getting the kinks out of the whole setup. Yeah, it's gonna be focusing a little bit today just on talking about music and a lot of other stuff. Very much for me, music is one of my passions. I really like uh, talking about it. I really like listening to a lot of different styles of music. I just pretty much have been going through with Jeff Beck lately and figuring out my top 10 for Jeff Beck. Had a really good time going through his entire discography, which includes a couple Jeff Beck group albums. Uh, which I normally wouldn't include, but I decided to include on this, and just really gonna take my time really coming up with this top 10. It's been a little hard. It should be out here within the week. My Roger Waters one, I have almost done filming it. There's just some songs where I'm just like, man, this is really taking longer than I ever expected it to. But yeah, and if you're looking to get into Jeff Beck and you're looking for something with a little bit more of a modern flair, those electronica albums of Who Else You Had It Coming, Jeff, uh, from about 99 to '03, those are absolutely phenomenal albums to listen to. And to really for me, it's one of those things where I was listening to it and I was just very pleasantly surprised at really how good the quality and how well those albums really hold up. Jeff Beck is one of those people that more and more I listen to him, the more I just really enjoy. It's really good. Just gonna put a ticker down below, see how that works, and yeah, if there's anything you want to know, just comment down below. Also, going through Roger Waters, one of the things I have to say I really have enjoyed is listening to his Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. Is an album I used to. How do I put this? I didn't really care much for it the first few times I heard it, and lately I've gone back listened to it, and I find this a lot with a lot of stuff that maybe I listened to years and years and years ago and might not have found an appreciation for. I find in the last year or so I really have. The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking is for me one of those albums where I'm just like, yeah, it makes sense now. It seems to make sense. One thing that came out of it is oh, what's it called? Oh, what the heck's it called? I kind of think of it as like a trilogy, like The Wall, The Final Cut, and The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. Kind of form a trilogy there of albums where with Roger Waters, I can see it. I can see where people who don't like Roger think he's a little overbearing might not like it, but I've found as a story, like I find a kind of cohesiveness to it. Radio Chaos is an album I've always loved. Like it's one of those where I know a lot of people have problems with like '80s production, and there are some songs that work, some that don't. But as a whole, I think it's a really strong album. Roger Waters is one of those guys where I just have kind of let bygones be bygones. And what I appreciate watching TV. Was a great. It sounds great. Like that's one thing I'll give. Or not watching TV. Mused to Death is an album that really for me sounds good, feels good to listen to, and yeah, the other thing was however his Is This the Life You Really Want? I think that album had moments, really did have moments where I really enjoyed listening to it. It was a really good, enjoyable album. But there's also points to that where it really dragged, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of like Amuse Death kind of had that as well, where it was like that get on with it type part of it. And yeah, Roger Waters. One of the live streams coming up is going to be Tool, so I just started listening to Tool. Not sure if I'm going to include the original EP, but I might go from like I believe it's Undertow all the way to Fear Inoculum. That should be interesting because this is like I've reacted to some Tool before, but now getting into more of it is going to be really, really interesting where it goes from there. My general thoughts, hearing everything all in order, how everyone says you have to experience Tool. I wonder if it's going to change my opinions on anything or not. Uh, yeah. After that, I believe Supertramp's my next one I'm going to be doing for a top 10 songs and stuff. It's going to be really interesting because I love Crime of the Century. I think that run from, at least from what I've heard so far, from Crime of the Century to, what's the one? Breakfast in America is really, really strong. Where you have Crime of the Century, Crisis, What Crisis, Even in the Quietest Moments. And yeah, I believe the next one was Breakfast in America. Fantastic records. I'm really excited to hear their stuff before Crime of the Century to see kind of where they were at. I know Crime of the Century was like their big breakout album. And then the other one that I'm thinking about really doing is after that, I believe it might even be Black Sabbath. Might be the one you guys voted on. Also, the other things that I'm going to be doing on the channel is ranking songs for specific albums. Like take the songs from the album and throw a ranking on it. That's where you're going to see. I think the first one, it's still pretty fresh up there, so I haven't quite think that there's a winner yet. But it's either going to be. It looks like from the choices you guys have chosen, it's either going to be, and then there was 3 by Genesis or Go to Hell by Alice Cooper. Both are, I think, great records, and I'm really excited to try this out, see how it works. I know other people have tried it, but it's kind of interesting listening to some of these, where some of these albums up until about 2 or 3 years ago, never really given a listen to. Alice Cooper's Go to Hell is one of the exceptions. I absolutely love that record. But Genesis is a band that I discovered, and I'm like, why didn't I listen to this band earlier? And it's really good. Like, there's so much out there that I just want to discover and want to do, and all that stuff. Yeah, if you're checking out this video, whether it be now or on demand, let me know how it sounds. Let me know what it's like. I'm just kind of trying this out. This is virtually just like one of my debuts just with this setup. And if it works, I'll be using this a lot more for streaming instead of just my phone, because it really does kind of tie up a lot of stuff on my phone and stuff. It kind of sucks because then it's like, okay, this goes on, and you have to kind of roll out the punches with the phone. But at least with this, I can leave this set up and it's not moving. So I can also probably do a lot of recording from this. Yeah. Also, one idea I had going forward was also doing tier makers and stuff, given kind of my general opinions on things. Even kind of theming each day is something I've I kind of want to grow this channel and really take it to the next level. Like that's one thing I've always been very, at least over the last year, since about the beginning of the year. It's really been focusing, how do I take this channel? How do I grow it? What do I want to do with it? What do I want to kind of branch out doing? That's kind of my plan for it. Like the Prisms of Prague kind of, I kind of realized early on, it's like there's so many albums I want to talk to, but it's not necessarily Prague. And I love Prague. I love talking about it. I love doing that on Sundays with Scott and discovering new music and all that. And it really works out. Like Scott has a great wealth of knowledge, and I think he's great for the smaller channels because he's under the impression that rising tide, everything floats. It all comes to the top, and I think he's right about that. Helping out a lot of smaller channels, helping out a lot of channels grow, giving them their own specific platform where they can discuss music and in a platform and in a way that they might not necessarily get to on a normal basis. And I think it works great for everybody. Like I've learned a lot from Scott, learned a lot from other channels, big and small. Like I would have never met any half the people I met without the Prog Corner. Like whether it be Taryn Dermott from Spin and Prog, Cody Brockway from Brockway's Vinyl Bites, Notes Review would have never been on a stream with him without Scott. Without Cody, would have never been able to be on a stream with Martin Popoff, who's a really, really smart guy. See him a lot on the Contrarian, Sea of Tranquility, a lot of channels and stuff, and just growth. And I'm not even sure if I just want to do this, like just discuss music. Could come on here on a stream one day and just start discussing whatever. Like I'm a very easygoing person. That's one thing I'll always say. Like I'm an open book. Ask me a question and I'll just answer it. Music's a passion I always had. Film's something I really enjoy too at times. Uh, if it, I find lately it's really hard for me to get into film because there's not a heck of a lot I want to see. Like I might see a movie and it's like, oh, that looks cool, and might want to go see it, but whether I do or not is a whole different animal. Albums, man. I've been listening to so much stuff lately. It's insane. Whether it be going through our Pink Floyd rankings, I guess our thing on the Prog Corner this week's going to be underrated prog albums instead of overrated prog albums. I was actually really looking forward to that overrated prog episode because I have a few in there that I really like to talk about. And you know what? Might even do a video on it. Might do that my own separate video, just discussing 5 prog albums I think are absolutely overrated. I know coming at it from a different perspective. Myself, I will say, like, I do not share some of the same views as a lot of the mainstream proggers out there. I'm more, there's a lot of people out there that are very technical that'll tell you, oh, this is like a D sharp 13th, flat 11, sharp 9th, or whatever chord. And for me, it's not that. It's all about sonics for me, how it sounds. And I notice this a lot in music is this sound. How an album sounds, I think, is how it's usually perceived by people. Like you could have the most technical music out there, but if it sounds like crap, who's going to listen to it? Like there is something to be said for production. There is something to be said for being able to bring your music to the forefront. That's why I think, even though they're not necessarily like the most technical bands in the world, I think that's why bands like Pink Floyd, uh, Jethro Tull, Genesis are really held in such high regard. Is sonically just how they sound and all that stuff. Yeah, you get Mr. Thor a little bit in the background. For those of you who don't know, I have my little pity slash King Corso here, Mr. Thorsby, just sitting in here. He's saying, Dad, oh, go see Mom. Yeah, he's my little boy. Yeah, so music for me is all about sonics and everything else, and really, you do you, whatever you like. Like, it's all subjective. Like, that's why I don't really take a lot of stuff too seriously when I hear people talking about stuff or talking in absolutes about music, because I'm like, it's so subjective. Like, it's not an absolute. What you hear you like, somebody else might not. You might say, well, they're wrong. But I don't think there's anything wrong in music. I just come here for just a safe. If you want to have a safe space for music, come here. I'm not gonna berate you. If you like Taylor Swift, you like Taylor Swift. You like Billie Eilish, you like Billie Eilish. If you like old school gangster rap, more power to you. Hip hop, I punk, grunge. I'm not a guy that really judges anybody. It could be Andreas Segovia you like. It could be the Chipmunks album. Could be your favorite album of all time. It could be a Creed Nickelback album. I'm really not very judgmental. I take a lot of I wouldn't say pride. I take a lot of stock in not trying to judge people based on their music, because you never know what they've listened to. Thor, but a lot of music is very, how would I put this? It's just very much like people would say with me, like music that I've listened to. A lot of people could say, like, how have you never listened to this before? Because I've never exposed to it. I think that's why going into like the prog corner, I kind of come at it from something completely different than 90% of the people on there. Is I don't come at it from a prog background or parents who had a huge prog background to pass down to their kids. I come at it just 100% me. My dad wouldn't classify himself as liking progressive rock. He liked Pink Floyd, he liked Deep Purple, liked Uriah Heep, but that's about as extreme out as he went. I I know he said yes, nope, don't like him. ELP wasn't his thing, and that I can see. I see why he had different taste. He was more, I think, of the singer songwriter kind of like lyrics that really spoke to you at times. But anyway, this is just the live stream. It's just a test. I'm probably gonna try and schedule these at least once a week, maybe once every other week. But once again, I have to say thank you guys so much for watching. This is me here signing out. Peace.